Welcome back, Bubbas, to another video. Our first guest ever, Rich, the teacher man himself. Thank you for being on. You have Bebo and Ben as always. But Rich, again, thank you for taking this time to, come chat on this beautiful Sunday and just talk hitting.
All right, very good. I love to be here. I love to talk hitting.
Rich, how did you get the name Teacherman? I've always wondered, like what did Teacherman? How did that stick?
Okay, as a young kid, a high school age kid, I fell in love with two things: pool and baseball.
Yeah.
And I'd play pool all winter, and I'd play baseball all summer. And between my sophomore and junior years in high school, my family moved to another town, and it had a small pool hall in it. And in an effort to make friends, I would go up there after school and play some pool. And I wasn't very good, but I was better than them.
Yeah.
And that piqued my interest in the game. And then I met a professional pool player in college, and that really piqued my interest. Fast forward the story. When I got married and moved to St. Louis and started playing in pool tournaments and pool leagues, nobody could remember my name, but they could remember that I was a teacher. I taught math and social studies in the high school for 3 years right out of college. So I became teacher. Everybody called me teacher. So in 1989, I opened Teachers Billiards and Sports Cafe, and I started teaching pool, and that's when it transformed into Teacherman. So when I joined Twitter, I tried to use Teacherman as my handle, but it was already taken. So I added the 1986 at the end of it.
What's the 1986? Is that
That's
when you?
my son's birthday.
I was wondering what the importance of that year was. I was like, no way this just randomly picks 1986.
Yeah, I have two sons. One of them born in 84, one of them born in 86. And Brandon, the one born in 86, was the one that went through all the training with me to learn what we teach. My older son was already off through college and already working in the working world. So we used Brandon's birthday.
And so when did you kind of like realize that, like, you didn't, obviously, I think people obviously get on your ass about like, oh, he reinvented the wheel or he's trying to like you didn't. Like, I think all you did was give hitters a different language to think about how to go about, an at bat, because there's only been one thing for 2,000 years. It's knob the ball, foot down, strike early. Versus you come in here, develop a whole new language system of barrel turn, force behind you, let the rear leg take, and now all of a sudden all this force is taking it rather than like this one single language. So when did you kind of realize it, like, oh shoot, maybe I got something here different than everything else?
Okay, so I played Division II baseball, real good catcher. I played every game, not a great hitter. I get married, I have sons. As they're coming up through Little League, they're just like me. They're good with their glove, and they're not worth a damn with their bat. So as a dad, we just try to learn and teach, right? So I'm on the internet trying to learn how to swing the bat better to help my sons enjoy the game better. And one thing led to another, and I fell in love with video, trying to make my sons look like someone. And I started swinging a bat to make myself look like Barry Bonds. Took me 2.5 years, dry swinging and swings off a tee. I'm not saying I'm playing in a game. I'm 50 years old at the time. But anyway, in my basement, trying to look like Bonds, I finally started to look like him, and I started to feel a stretch in my body that I didn't have when I played. And I taught it to my son, and he started hitting homers. Now, he was very average athletically. He wasn't a pro prospect by any means, wasn't a Division I prospect at all. But he started hitting the ball as hard as the people he was playing with. And so I knew I was onto something. I started talking about it on the internet. So this is like September of 2006.
And when you like discovered, and I think when you mentioned your origin story, was it like the barrel turn first and then you became interested in the one-legged stuff, or was it like together you saw barrel turn and then one-legged?
Yeah.
When did that happen? When did the one-legged thing come into?
Yeah, the barrel turn came first. I was sitting in my recliner on a Friday night in September of 2006 watching the Cardinals play the Giants. And for the first time, I saw the speed of Barry Bonds' barrel going backwards before it went forward. I had seen it before, but I just thought it was flatten the bat and then push it forward. Well, that night, as I'm playing his swings back and forth with my TiVo, I got a real strong feeling that he wasn't flattening and pushing it. It wasn't 2 moves, it was 1 move, one sudden move. So I got out of my recliner and went downstairs to my wiffle ball pitching machine and fired it up and started snapping my bat, what I call the snap. And within 15 minutes, I'm squaring every ball. And I get, wow, this is different. I have never felt this before. And that's the moment that everything started. So I saw the snap first, and then I taught it to my son, just the snap. We didn't know anything about the lower body, and he starts hitting homers. And after that summer, he's ready to go back to college. We have one more batting practice session, and he sucked. From a great summer to all of a sudden he sucks again. And we don't know what's going on. But fortunately, as we were learning, I videoed everything. I videoed all his games. I videoed all his practice. And I went to the video after he was sucking, and it just jumped off the screen. I don't know why, but when he was snapping the bat, he was doing it from his back leg. And in this practice, he was not. He was shifting his weight first and then snapping it. And that's when the back leg aha started coming together with the snap.
That makes a lot of sense. Ben, hey, what do you got for Rich, man? I need something from the non-HLP guy who doesn't know shit. What do you got for him?
Yeah, I mean, I just keep it simple. I mean, I'm a big baseball guy in general, Rich. So I love watching the game. I love all things baseball. I was raised around it, played it all my life, everything. For you, like, what do you see in, like, baseball players in general at every level that's, like, the most common mistake when it comes to hitting, or thing that you could fix? If you could eliminate one thing, what would that one thing be?
The shift of the weight before they swing. It just jumps off the screen. I can't watch a game and enjoy it anymore because I'll say that guy sucks. and he shouldn't suck. Okay, he's getting bad information. And it's prevalent throughout all of baseball. I haven't been with every organization, but the organizations I've been with and with the players in the organization, they all tell me it's get the foot down, shift the weight, and swing. And that is just a huge timing problem against great pitching, against good pitching. You have 2 moves. You have to get the foot down, shift your weight, and then swing after you've decided to swing, instead of just swing. And when you can just swing, the foot comes down on its own. I've got a video of Aaron Judge talking to Harold Reynolds. He says, I don't have to worry about my foot. It comes down. Okay? I'm launching from my back leg, and when I do that, the foot will come down. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So that's the thing that it's irritating to me, because it really is obvious. If you would put any major league player who shifts his weight first next to Barry Bonds or Manny or Albert or Ted or Mickey or Mike, it's just going to jump off the screen at you. Those great players are doing something else.
Yep.
Yeah, I've heard Andrew talk about that same concept. Like, you're just.
I'm sorry, I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better.
I've heard Andrew talk about the same thing, where he just says you swing your foot down, right? So, is there a point where you don't want your hitters to, like, gain too much ground towards the pitcher, or like, how do you teach, like, the stride aspect of it?
Okay, these are hand in hand. When you most hitters are going to stride, so they have to learn to move forward without letting their foot come down. They have to learn to, what I call, control their forward move. And to do that, you have to be coiling and moving forward at the same time. If you're not coiling while you're moving forward, you're just going to crash land. Okay? And it's really not hard to do. Everybody that comes to me, if I don't throw them a ball and I just show them what to do, they can do it instantly. But as soon as I throw them a ball, they fail. Mm-hmm. Because they've got a habit that they've done for 10 or 15 or 20 years. And they've got to learn that you can do this from your back leg. You just have to practice it. And I'm going to demonstrate. One thing I ask my hitters to do when they're watching TV at night is just during the commercial, just get up and get one-legged and then do this. Okay? This whole time I'm moving forward, my head is still. I'm controlling my rear leg, and they can do it instantly. But as soon as you put a ball in front of them, they do this.
Yep.
Okay? They have to get their foot down to swing. And if you look at a lot of different activities like high jump and long jump, all of those guys who jump the furthest or the highest jump off one leg. Okay? They don't get up to the bar and stop and put both feet down and then jump. They jump off the one leg. So there's a lot of athletic activities that are done far better from the back leg than from two legs. And hitting is one of them for sure, because you have to be able to hit a 105-mile-an-hour fastball and a 79-mile-an-hour changeup. And if you have to put your foot down at the right time for both of those, not knowing which one's coming, that's like, it's just pure luck when you did it right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's absolute hell.
It's pure luck.
That's so funny you brought that up. All the kids at the facility are like, what can I do to, work on my rear leg? I was like, well, if you do push-ups every night, what are you gonna get better at? Push-ups. Yep. If you do pull-ups every night, what are you gonna get better at? Pull-ups. So if you practice on standing on one leg and just literally coiling and stretching out the back, what are you gonna good at? Coiling and stretching out the back. Oh, it's too good. It's like but it's so weird. Like it's so funny. I think that kids do it so wrong these days, and they trust to do it wrong. But then when we do it right, it's like, I can't trust it. I have a mental block to not trust it. And I was that way too. I don't think I trusted it until I think I got to spring training. I was like, well, shit, like this is my swing. You better trust it. Otherwise you're screwed. And I ended up having my best spring training ever before getting released. Like it literally was. It was way different than I've ever had before. Yeah. And yeah. But for what you've seen obviously with all the different facilities that teach HLP, what's like a normal timeline that hitters usually take to understand HLP, and then what do you think holds guys back from fully like, all right, this is it right here? Okay.
The timeline is a tough question. Jose Vargas, who's playing in the Mexican League, came to me in 2016, a clinic in Philadelphia. I had communicated with him on Twitter, and I did a clinic in Philadelphia, and he showed up. I didn't know he was coming. And he picked it up that weekend, and he was in the Frontier League at the time. And he got picked up by the Mexican League, and he's hit 290 with 25, 30 homers and a 900 OPS every year since. He picked it up just like that. I have other guys it takes longer. I was with Aaron Judge 23 times before he started his season. Now, he didn't need all 23 of them to pick it up, but he needed all 3 of them to make it become more automatic, or he didn't have to think about it so much. I would say in the middle of the first week with Aaron, he was getting it. But to answer your question, the length of time it takes is directly related to how ingrained their old habit is. Can they give it up and make a new habit happen? And generally speaking, when the ball comes at you 95 miles an hour, your old habit's going to just show up. Okay? It's just going to show up. And so it takes a lot of cage work to defeat that old habit. And it's different for everybody. Kerry Carpenter came to me in February of 22 and did excellent in the cage. He went to spring training and he sucked all through spring training. He sucked all through the month of April, and then it clicked on him, and he hit 30 homers from May to August in the AAA. So it's different for everybody.
Yeah. And then for the guys who obviously worked with you and they just gave it up, like what do you think that reason is? They just don't have time for it, think it's stupid? Like what do you think goes through their head?
There's a couple of reasons. I'll start off with the ones that I've worked with that already have a $100 million contract. They don't have incentive to get better.
Yeah.
And whatever they've been doing, if they've been hitting 250 with 20 homers and at 800 OPS, they can probably continue to do that without changing. And so they decide it's not worth the work. Okay. And then there's the others, the minor leaguers or the people who don't have the big contract that come to me. And I can get almost everybody, 99%, to feel it in the cage. But when they start to see a pitcher, they have the heck of a time defeating the old habit. Okay. So my opinion is if they keep coming to me long enough, we'd work through it. But either they can't afford to come to me all the time, or they just decide, I'm athletic enough to athlete the game. I'm gonna take my chances.
Yeah. I mean, sounds about right. Yeah, that's
So off of that, what separates like the best of the best and the guys who struggle to attain those continued levels of success? Is it the drive factor? Is it the, work ethic? What specifically, if you were to pinpoint maybe one or two things on that?
First of all, there's a huge belief factor that they deserve to be successful, that they can be a major leaguer, they can be a Hall of Famer. And I'm fortunate to have worked with Aaron Judge. He is unbelievable strong as a person mentally. And he's unbelievably strong in the belief that he can be one of the best hitters ever. He came to me with that belief. And then he started to feel something new, and the belief got even stronger. One thing that Aaron has done that none of the other players have done, not one of them, I'm with Aaron every 2 weeks during the season for 10 years. Okay, I don't know that he needs me that much, but sometimes I joke I'm his binky. When I go meet with him and say, Aaron, you look good, he feels like Samson and goes out and hits homers. Okay, I defeat whatever doubt he had.
mm-hmm.
He didn't have much doubt, but if he had a little bit, I defeated it. But just by telling him he looks good. Other people have this just not enough belief that they deserve or that they can be that good. And so the mental side of the game is brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And people succumb to that way too much. I was fortunate enough to be in I call it a luxury box, but it was a minor league park, and I was in there with Terry Collins, the former manager of the Mets. Mm-hmm. And we were talking hitting, and he said, it's unbelievable how many surefire quality major leaguers quit when they're in the minor leagues because first of all, it's a rough life, but they lost their belief. Okay. They had all the talent in the world to be a great player in the big leagues, and they quit early. The game's brutal mentally. It really is. And, add that to the fact that their old habit is hard to defeat. Pretty soon you get beat down. Little by little, you get beat down.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a game of failure. Best of the best do it 3 out of 10 times, but that's success.
Yes.
I mean, there was a point in time where I was obviously training OPP, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Yeah. Like, I think it was probably like December. Obviously, I'm 3 months away from spring training. I was like, what the actual F am I doing? Like, I was just like, I'm screwed. I made this Giants. I know it's right, but I just mentally couldn't figure it out. And I was like, I'm screwed. I'm done. Yeah. I'm toast. And then ended up having my best spring, which was the funniest part about it.
We have our scale of athleticism from 0 to 10. How good of an athlete are we? And we have our mechanics scale. How good are my mechanics?
Yeah.
And if you're a really strong athlete, you can get by with less than mechanics, and you might hang on longer than somebody else. And vice versa. If you have really strong mechanics, you might hang on longer than someone who is a good athlete but doesn't have strong mechanics. My opinion is the guys who have both the athleticism and the mechanics are your Hall of Famers. And the guys that are like this a little bit are good players in the big leagues. But when one of them is too low, when the athleticism isn't low enough or the swing isn't low enough, that's when your belief really starts to get chipped away at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of just big leaguers, Rich, this wasn't on my question board, but now it's kind of coming up. What do you think it is about I feel like almost every single big leaguer or a lot of minor leaguers have reached out to you, but what is it you think about it being so taboo and everyone has to be so closeted about wanting to even know, get a little peek, hey, what's HLP about? But if I talk about it, it's like, holy shit. I think the big example is what I was at the facility that one day. You were going to go work with Manny, and you worked with him once, twice?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he has a bad season. It's like, oh, he went to go see Rich. And in my head, I'm like, bro, you don't learn HLP in 2 sessions, if that, with Rich. You might see it, but you're not going to be able to learn HLP in 1-2 lessons. So what do you think just the giant slap on the wrist, the taboo is with just big leaguers and just organizations and everything?
First of all, my personality is part of it. I don't take crap from anybody. When I saw my son, who's, a 5 on a scale of 0 to 10 athleticism, start out hitting all the athletes, I'm a pretty strong believer in what we have found and discovered. And then the best hitter in the game does what I teach, and he does it really well. So I'm not going to take any crap from anybody. If they don't want to do what I teach, fine, but don't tell me it doesn't work.
Yeah.
The most interesting thing is nobody criticizes Aaron Judge's swing, but they criticize all the drills that he went through to create that swing. And each of those drills looks funny, looks different. One of my strengths as an educator is I can take a topic and break it down into segments and teach you the segments. Each segment looks a little weird, but when you put it all together, it looks amazing. So when I work on the snap, this barrel going backwards, the whack-a-mole drill, that just sets them off, okay? When I work on the tilt and my head goes backwards when I'm just tilting, that sets them off. Your head shouldn't go backwards. And then when I work on the forward move, when I add a forward move to it, I'm still tilting, my head doesn't go backwards, okay? Because I'm going forward as I do it. But when I'm demonstrating the tilt, I'm not going forward. So one of my strengths is also one of the things that causes everybody to throw a fit, is when I break the swing down into segments and we're just working on a segment, it looks weird. Yep. Okay, my stretch and fire drills are weird. My one-legged drills are totally weird. My whack-a-mole drill is weird. My tilt drill is weird. Aaron Judge has done every one of them, and he does them every time I'm with him. Okay? The result that comes out of it is an amazing swing when you do every one of those things at the same moment. You don't sequence it. You don't do a little of this and then a little of that and then a little of this and then a little of that. You just explode. You pop like a balloon, and all those segments come out at one time into a beautiful swing.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, that's literally what it is.
Why do they hate why am I taboo?
Yeah.
Basically because I fight them, probably.
Do you think if you didn't have such big Twitter battles in the past, and I know it's obviously, it's like your kid, it's HLP is your baby, and I get it.
Yeah.
But do you think if you didn't have these big, these big old fights, hey, maybe people would be more open to it or kind of like listening to it? But because obviously it's your baby, I understand you're going to defend your baby, and it's worked. You can clearly see it works. So
yeah, that's possible. But I will say this: I have very little in-town business in St. Louis. All my business comes from the internet. People come from Japan and Korea and Switzerland and Germany and Seattle and Arizona and New York and Florida and everywhere in between. And you know why they come? Because they know I believe in what I teach. Okay? And so my battle with Jeff Fry or my battle with Chipper Jones a few months ago, I support what I say with video as I argue. None of them do that. None of them will add a video to support their argument. They'll just say, I played in the big leagues. Okay, good. Okay, you clearly outplayed me, but I'm out coaching you. Okay, if you want to compare instruction resumes, I beat the crap out of you. If you want to compare playing resumes, you beat the crap out of me. We're both now in our 50s. Which one are we doing? Are we instructing or are we playing?
I love that. That's so good. Ben, do you have something?
No, I mean, it's very valid and very interesting. I don't really have, I'm perplexed. You got me with the whole international component. How often are you getting people from Japan's and different places in different origins reaching out and interacting with you?
I've had 1, 2, 3 from Japan, 1 from Korea, 1 from Switzerland, 1 from Germany. The Japanese are all over it. However, first of all, one of the reasons they're all over it is because Sadaharu was a real big one-legged proponent, swinging from one leg. And I teach the same thing. I teach the snap different than he did. But because I kind of connect with Sadaharu, I'm real big in Japan. However, the value of their yen is so low right now, they can't afford to come over here. But I do have a guy I've certified to teach my stuff in Japan. He's been here 3 times, I think, himself. He's not a player. I think he's an agent who has brought 3 players to me, 2 players to me, one of them twice, and he's now certified to teach it in Japan. So we should see some things going on over there.
That's sick. Speaking of obviously the certifications or guys who teach it, don't teach it. what do you think about guys who try and do it on their own? In a sense that like, because I personally don't think you can do HLP on your own. I tried, obviously, I hit with you a couple times and here and there, and I was like, well, I think this is it. Definitely not it.
Yeah.
Don't look at my old swing.
It's rare for someone to pick it up on his own, but it has happened.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I bet. But I think also part of the not hate or like misunderstanding comes from like, oh, this shit doesn't work. Of some guy who just sees your videos, tries to copy what you do, and is like, man, this guy's full of shit. But doesn't actually work with you. And so when he snaps his barrel, his hands drop down here like this, or they're still like this. And then, well, I'm launching at the same time, but it's still, his head's like in the middle of his body. And I think a lot of, maybe you can touch on this a little more, but I think a lot of people who shit on the stuff are the same people who couldn't necessarily understand it in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. Of all the people that come to me, almost all of them have watched my videos on YouTube or Twitter, or they've bought my course. So they kind of have a general understanding of what I teach, but none of them are right when they get here. And so the details, they just gloss over the details. And I'm a stickler on the details. You have to do this right. You can't pass through it. You can't eliminate it. And so there's a lot of people on the social media right now that will say, well, I tried it, but it didn't work. Well, they didn't really try it. You mentioned Manny Machado a minute ago. I was with Manny more than 2 times. I was with him 4 times in 4 days in Miami and 2 days in spring training. And I got him really good in spring training. But as he started facing pitching, live pitching in games, some of the details started missing. Okay. Now, if you go back to 2017, April 10th, 2017, Aaron Judge called me to New York because something was missing. And I tuned him up, and he hit 30 homers and hit 330 by the All-Star break. Manny didn't call me. Okay. And so the details that go missing when your old habit starts to show up, it starts to build, and pretty soon nothing's working. So the very important details, for example, a real good example is this is the snap. Okay? It's forearm rotation. About a very high percentage, 80% of the people that come to me think they're snapping it and they're doing this. Okay? They're raising their hand to their shoulder and dropping. This is actually what a barrel dump is. Okay? They're dumping their barrel. And what they should be doing is this, where the hands stay still and you supinate and swing. That is probably the most common thing that happens. That's a detail. They think they're doing it right, and they're not even close. Mm-hmm. And that little barrel dump move also causes them to shift their weight. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so they've got 2 or 3 things going on simply because of they're not doing the snap right. So,
I mean, that's so funny. It's a barrel dump. It's a barrel dump. Bro, it's only a barrel dump if your hand pivot outruns your body.
Yeah.
But once again, they don't know the little broken up details where it's like, if I continue to hand, like my favorite saying to the guys of what I teach is like, a hand pivot with no rear leg and no tilt is a push. Because if my hands just keep on, because we're trying to turn the barrel, but you're turning the barrel all the way through the zone with nothing else. Like, no shit, you're going to hit a pop-up guy.
Yeah.
Like, but once again, it's just like, oh, barrel dump. It's just anything to just kind of disprove it in any sense and form. It's insane, Rich. I said it's taboo. It's taboo.
Another thing that's real obvious is they don't understand how quick it must happen. And I'm not saying they're not quick enough. They're just not doing it quickly. Mm-hmm. I mean, the swing is over like a balloon popping. Pop! It's over. There's no sequence to it. There's no a little bit and then some more. Almost everybody that comes to me wants to snap the bat and then hit the ball. Instead of snapping the bat, hits the ball. Mm-hmm. Okay? So anyway, one thing I am seeing is there's a lot of copycat instructors on social media, people I've never worked with, people using the lingo, and I consider that good to a certain degree. They're missing the details, but they are getting people better, a little bit better. Mm-hmm. They're probably not going to be able to hit the great pitching without the rest of the details, but there is I will call it a grassroots swelling, a coming up of people people I've been certified, but other people I haven't, who are starting to understand you got to get barrel depth. When Aaron Judge talks about, I got to get barrel depth so that when I get beat by 97, I can still barrel the ball. That makes sense to people. Okay. And so they've started to realize that the A to B swing is not it. You got to get the barrel in the zone behind you.
One thing they right there. What did you just do? You just did this, and people are like, "What?" No one turns their head.
Oh,
But,
watch his head. Watch his head.
Yeah, we were talking about the whole thing. Like, we were actually talking about Caleb last week because I reached out to Ashley at PSI about the whole thing, and Ben, first thing Ben did was like, just because that's what everyone sees, and so I was laughing about that. But one question before we hop into some other just big leaguer guys, what do you got for guys with like long leg kicks, like big forward moves, like a carry? Because obviously it's like a carry.
Kerry Carpenter.
Yeah, like that is a huge stride forward. Yet somehow, some way, he's able to keep his weight on that backside.
Yeah.
How did you get that to happen where he can make a 20-foot forward move while everything still stays right here? I've always wondered that.
Basically, Kerry developed that on his own. He's really good when he gets into his stance. He's got this he's like on a pedestal. Okay, this leg isn't like that. It's on his toe, and he's just going to do all of this right here and not let the head move. Okay, if your head moves, you're going to crash. You're going to shift weight before you can swing. You've got to get to where the head can stay still. My butt's going forward, but my head isn't moving with it. And then snap the bat. But, Will Clark had a long stride. Roberto Clemente had a long stride. But if you look at both of them, they were still up here after their stride, or as they're striding. They're not coming forward. Their hands aren't coming forward with that stride. They're working back during the whole stride. And just like anything, some bodies have more flexibility than others, and you have to learn to do it right with what your body can do.
Yeah. I've always wondered like how he's made such a crazy forward move but doesn't shift his weight. And so, I mean, so we have guys at facility at OPP, obviously, who have big forward moves like that, but it's like, holy crap. It's like, bro, like you got to find a way to do it. Like, I don't care what your move looks like. Like, I'm going to have to change your leg kick if you can't do it. But yeah, he's a very extreme example of someone who can make a forward move from the back of the box to the front of the box, but still everything stays on that stack the entire time.
The real key is don't let your head move.
Yeah.
It's going to move a little bit, but it's going to feel like it doesn't move. If you can keep your head still while you're doing this, you're going to stay back on your back leg.
Yeah. No, this has been good stuff. I absolutely love that. But Marsh, you got anything?
Yeah. Well, just going back to the last question, you said barrel dump, and then you hear big leaguers talk about it more and more, like as you said. So do you think even through all the hate that you've received, like people are starting to accept HLP more? Because I feel like if you watch MLB Network, like Mark DeRosa is talking about barrel depth and he's breaking down swings.
Yeah.
Similar to your terminology, it looks like these people are starting to accept HLP.
Yeah. I've been a critic of Mark DeRosa. Every morning when I get up, I get in here about 8:30, turn on MLB Network and start watching. I'll go to my machine and take 50 swings, and I'll come back and look at the TV, and then I'll go hit 50 more balls and come back and look at the TV. DeRosa is coming around. All his demos are wrong, but his words are getting better. Okay? So, yeah, it's growing. And I'll give you an honest opinion. I don't know if it'll be 5 years from now or 10 years from now, but everybody will be doing this. Everybody. Yeah. They'll be doing it, and they'll be doing it well. It's the only way that the hitters are going to be able to keep up with the pitchers, what the pitchers are doing. Yeah. You got to get launch quickness. You got to get rid of that shift and swing.
Yeah, I think when I've seen him talk about it, I think he had Miguel Vargas on like during the All-Star break or something. And he's focused more on the elbow and not so much like the barrel turn. He's talking about all these people are making this elbow move like this.
Yeah,
and
he's talking about getting in the slot now.
Yeah.
Well, right. Watch this. This is the snap. What did my elbow do? It went in the slot.
Into that slot.
Okay. You don't slot it and then snap. When you snap, the elbow gets into the slot. And that's critical in terms of quickness. The only thing that can move the barrel instantly is your hands. Your body can't move that barrel instantly, only your hands.
Yep.
And when your hands are doing the right thing to your elbow too, you're gaining quickness. Now, when I watch a hitter who's struggling in a 30 frame per second video, we're talking about 1 frame, 1/30th of a second difference between him being right and wrong. A 30th of a second, 1 frame of video. If he would have not slotted his elbow and then swung, and if he would have just swung, which slots the elbow, that'll save maybe a 30th of a second, maybe 2/30ths of a second. It's huge. There's nothing more better I can give a hitter than more time.
Yeah.
If he's quicker, he has more time.
Ben, is this also
another?
go ahead. No, you first.
Yeah,
You first.
Well, just another trend is like people are training bat speed more and more. So,
Yeah.
what are your opinions on like bat speed training, and does it help you, turn the barrel quicker, or is those two separate things and people have it all wrong?
Okay, good question. And it's one of my pet peeves. Way back before Twitter, when all this arguing was going on the internet forums, everybody would agree that when you try to swing the bat harder to get better bat speed, you're less quick. You muscle up a little bit. It takes you a little bit. There's a slight like neurological delay or maybe a physical delay that you have to do before you can accelerate the barrel. So you're less quick. We all agreed on it. Now on Twitter, because of the devices, the Rapsodo and the Blast and the Hit Tracks, because they can measure that, nobody thinks anybody's improving unless their measurements got better. And so to get a guy's bat speed to get better, they do a lot of overload, underload stuff. They get him swinging hard. They do some weight room stuff. And they say, look how good you got because you went from 78 to 81 or whatever it is, okay? You've improved. Well, the fact of the matter is that guy still can't hit in the game. In fact, he's probably a little worse because he's not as quick at 81 as he was at 78, okay? Aaron Judge was 6'7", 280 before I met him, and I don't know what his bat speed was, but it was the same bat speed after he met me. But now he's quick. If he hit the ball before, it'd go a long ways, but he couldn't hit it very often. Now he can hit it real often, and it goes a long ways, okay? And so, and one more point to add, I did a clinic in Chicago in 2021. A Major League Baseball hitting coach was putting on the clinic, and I was up there to debate Jeff Fry. And this Major League hitting coach said this. He said, teaching hitting today is easier than ever before. All you got to do is pull out your iPad and say, get these numbers. Well, what is one of those numbers? One of those numbers is bat speed, and another one is exit velocity. And so in the cage, they lift weights and they underload, overload, and they swing hard to get both of those numbers higher in the cage. But then they face Mizorowski. Okay, he's throwing 105, and they don't have the quickness to catch up. Now, that's probably not a good example. Very few can catch up to him. But they can't catch up to 95 because they've added length to their swing, length in time, not necessarily length in distance, but length in time, okay? Aaron Judge is what he is today because when he decides to swing, boom, it goes off that quick. He doesn't decide to swing and then do something and then swing. And to get your exit velocity and your bat speed up more, you generally have to do something more after you've decided to swing, but before you can pull the trigger and the ball gets on you. Mm-hmm. Now these guys are good athletes. Sometimes they're just right on time, but they're not on time as often as they could be.
Mm-hmm. Good stuff. And then
going into a specific guy, what do you see in the new rising star in Chicago in Murakami? Are there aspects of his swing that you really like? Are there things that you think that are translatable? What do you think he kind of does well that kind of has led to his early success? I know he's had some time where he's been injured, but kind of some of the stuff that you work on, what do you see in his swing?
I see him in the ballpark. I see him doing good stuff that can be better. Okay. I see there's a little bit of a slot then swing to him, a little bit of, and when he slots, he gets forward. I haven't studied him a lot, but I did look. I saw him and Shohei next to each other in a video, and Shohei was showing him something like this, and Murakami started adopting it, or I saw him doing it afterwards. I don't know what the conversation was, but he's doing the right thing a little sloppily, a little inefficiently, okay? And good enough athlete to have, he's hitting some homers. His average isn't what it could be, okay? But, the game is really hard. You have to be perfect every pitch as a hitter. You have to be ready every pitch as a hitter, and sometimes you aren't. Sometimes you're ready and you didn't like the pitch. In 22, when Judge hit 62 homers, he hung on number 60 for a long time. And then he hit 61 in Toronto, I believe, and then a few days later, 62 in Texas. And we were talking a lot during the time. And also during this time, when he's up to bat, they're walking him a lot. So he would say, I would be up to bat, and I'm sure they're walking me. And so I didn't get ready. And then they threw a cookie right down the middle, and I swung and fouled it off. Okay? You have to be at your spot, ready to hit every pitch, and it doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. And back to Murakami, he's got this little move that he does that's just not quite efficient. And so on a lot of pitches, he's where he should be. And on some pitches, he's not quite where he should be. Okay?
How bad? You guys got some?
I got some. Of the guys that you've worked with, Rich, like who was able to pick it up like super quick and translate it into instant results? Has there been many of the Jose Vargas?
The guy that went from the Frontier League to the Mexican League. By the way, he should be in the big leagues, but he's up in age. He was 30 when he learned it, and they're going to go with the 19-year-old instead of the 30-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, but he picked it up really quick. I would say Carey picked it up really quick. He was here for 3 days in the cage, but then he struggled in a game, so I guess you could say he didn't really have it quite. It took him a couple months to get used to it. Most people don't pick it up that quick. I sell it for someone to come and work with me. I tell them they need 3 or 4 lessons to give themselves a chance. And when they come and give me 3 one-hour lessons or 4, they're going to leave with a really good understanding of what to do and how to do it. But then they've got to put the time in, the reps in, to where it just becomes automatic and they don't have to think about it anymore. So, and that's all, like I said earlier, that all depends on how quickly, first of all, how motivated they are, but how quickly can they get rid of their bad habit, their old habit. It shows up sometimes. I got a good example. Tommy Pham came to me. What year was it they played in the World Series? He was with the Diamondbacks. 23, 4? Whatever year it was.
That was
22.
Yeah.
Whatever year it was, the World Series ended like on
23.
Tuesday. He was
23.
here Wednesday. He was here the next day. And we had been talking ahead of time, and he came. And I put him through, I think we only had 2 lessons, and I couldn't get him to do a dang thing right. I couldn't get him to do anything I wanted him to do. And I finally said, and we were real cordial, real nice. In fact, we still text today. I said, Tommy, I'm not going to charge you. I can't get you to do anything. Just do what you do.
Yeah.
So I don't reach everybody. Nobody reaches everybody. Okay.
I don't know Tommy, obviously, but from what I've seen, Tommy can be a pretty stubborn guy. He's pretty in his, he's pretty in his ways.
He has his
in some
opinions,
ways.
but everything was cordial here. He wouldn't snap the bat. He just couldn't. He was just pusher. Okay. I put the whip stick. You know what the whip stick is? It's got BBs in it or something that when you snap it, you can hear the BBs go down to the barrel.
Yeah.
He would never get the BBs behind him. They were always out toward the opposite batter's box.
Yeah, that's funny. Like Ben said, obviously we don't know Tommy, but that story doesn't surprise us with like.
I like him. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I know I know there's stories about him. He's very opinionated.
Yeah.
Rich,
like I'm not.
Yeah, like we don't have the biggest Twitter hater right now on anything but HLP with this. Rich, I gotta ask, how did you obviously I was a PSI guy. Like, how did you get in touch with like Paige and Dave? Like, did you just happen to work with Dave and then Dave became an agent, or
Yeah.
how did that connect? That was what the connection was.
Yeah, back before Twitter, there was the forums that we were called the forums on the internet, and David's forum name was Hidden Gem. He's a hidden gem looking for information. So there was a bunch of us regulars on the forums arguing about hitting, and then there was other guys that would come in and read and listen, and every now and then say something. Well, David was one of those. He was a minor leaguer. He was with the Royals at the time, and he would come in and say something now and then about things. And when my son started going off, David started communicating with me, and I started teaching David. And he had his best 2 years in the minor leagues, but he never got called to the big leagues. And he retired from ball and became an agent. From 2009, when he retired, to 2016, when I started working with Aaron Judge, all the time between then, David would send me video of the players that he's recruiting to PSI. I saw Rob Refsnyder, I saw Cole Calhoun, I saw Colton Wong. There's several guys that I saw that David was recruiting out of college or out of high school before anybody knew their names. And he would send me video of them and ask me what I thought of their swing because he liked what I could see. Well, in 2016, he had recruited Aaron Judge to the agency, and Aaron got called up to the Yankees and hit 179 and struck out 42 out of 84 at-bats. And after the season, David went to Aaron and asked Aaron if he told him about me, asked Aaron if he was interested in working, and Aaron said, bring him out. So I went out, and that started the story.
How do you do?
Since then, I've got a relationship with Paige also, the owner of PSI, and I've been going out to their facility at least once, sometimes twice in the off season. He gives all of his clients the opportunity to work with me. Some buy in, some don't. I stand there and flip them balls and give them instruction, and I hope they buy in, but some don't. Both Carrie and Caleb are represented by PSI. They got to PSI after working with me, not before working with me.
I didn't know that. I thought they were always PSI guys. That's interesting.
No, neither of them had an agent. And Gage Workman, who is a PSI client, and Carrie were best friends. And when Carrie started hitting all those homers, Carrie didn't have an agent. And Gage told him about PSI, and they signed him up.
That's sick. Hey, how is it, Rich, working with obviously like just big leaguers in general? Like, how is that feeling? Like, oh crap, I got a 5-time Gold Glove winner, or I got a guy from Philadelphia that I'm working with who's a multi-time All-Star. How does that? What goes through your head in a situation like that? It's like, is this guy gonna like treat me well, respect me? Like, is he gonna try and big league me even though I'm trying to like teach him something? Yeah. Like, how does that kind of go through your brain? How does that work?
Well, first of all, it's an honor to work with all of them. But second of all, when I'm actually in the cage with them, they've agreed. They haven't said anything, but they need help. So they're coming somewhat humble. They wouldn't be there if they didn't need help. Okay. Yeah. Most of them come to me if they're already a big leaguer because they've contacted Aaron Judge. Okay. Aaron is like the big league hitting coach.
Is he?
All the players contact Aaron for advice.
Really?
They'll send video to Aaron, and Aaron will send it to me. And I'll do a side-by-side, and I'll point out what I see and things, and I'll send it to Aaron, and Aaron will send it back to them. And if they are intrigued by what happened, they'll contact me, and we'll get together. But yeah, I believe in what I teach. I don't hold back. If I've got a 10-year-old in here or Giancarlo Stanton, they get the same message. I teach the same thing to all of them. Okay, you've got to have launch quickness. To get launch quickness, you've got to have barrel depth, and you got to do it from your back leg. What drills I pick to work with each of them may vary based on where they're at, but the overall concept is the same for everybody.
How does that work when you come to town, to Toronto, wherever it is, and obviously they share cages, so like obviously guys walking by see you and whoever working, are people like, hey, can I hit with you sometime? Has that ever happened? Is there any good stories like that, Rich? I need to know some good stories from you right now.
Yeah. When I say I'm going to New York to work with Aaron, we work at a certain facility that we've been at for several years, Sometimes he'll bring a teammate with him. He's brought Kyle Higashioka with him. He's brought Clint Frazier with him. He's brought Anthony Rizzo. He's brought Giancarlo Stanton. I can't claim all these guys as clients because some of them just kind of come to see what Aaron does.
Yeah.
And it's always in the middle of the season, and they're not going to change what they do in the middle of the season. So, some of them buy in, some of them don't. But anyway, oftentimes we'll be in a cage, and next to us is first of all, we always look for privacy. Aaron wants privacy. He's there to work. He's not there to sign autographs. Okay. And so, but every now and then we're in a facility where the cage next to us or across the room, everybody's staring at us. Okay. And oftentimes when it's over, Aaron will sign a few autographs and go, and then they'll start asking me questions. And it's not uncommon for me to spend another few minutes or an hour in the cage with someone I've never met before, trying to explain what I teach. Most of the time, if they approach me, it's someone who has watched my videos online, and so they have a general understanding about what they're about to get. Okay, and they're open to it.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. You got any good? What's your best story, Rich, that you think you've never shared? Big league at a big league stadium, something happened. Holy crap, that's the Teacherman, or obviously maybe big leaguers kind of like getting starstruck by your presence, something like that. Has that ever happened before?
Well, I was in Houston this year, tuning Aaron up, and for the first time, for whatever reason, I got to work with Aaron in the stadium underneath where the cage is. And I also had batting practice pass. So I'm standing right in front of the Yankees dugout, watching them take batting practice. And my back is to the dugout, and I'm watching them take batting practice, and I get a tap on my shoulder. It's Aaron Boone. He said, "Hi, Teacherman." Which was pretty cool. I've never talked to him before. It's pretty cool that he would recognize me and know my name. Not that I would, there's so much written about me and Aaron. I know he knows about it, but for him to approach me was really cool. But my best story doesn't have anything to do with on the field. In 2017, at the All-Star break, where Aaron won the home run derby, we went out to dinner after. It was after the Futures game, where I saw Scott Kingery playing, and then we went out to dinner with the agent and Scott and Aaron and his parents. And I'm standing there next to Paige, the owner of PSI, and some lady and man walk in, and Paige says, "Hey, Patty, this is Rich." She walks over, gives me the biggest hug, and that's Aaron Judge's mom. Okay, so appreciative of what I've been able to do with Aaron, and that story will stick with me forever.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean that whole family is just the nicest. Like what you see on TV of Judge, it's not fake. That's real.
No,
Judge is. I remember Paige. I don't know if Paige, Rich. I don't know if I ever told you this story. I was a freshman at Fresno State, and so Aaron was actually. He was there for his award ceremony at the stadium, his the first time there, some kind of jersey ceremony thing at the football field. And instead of being the football game, I would usually go hit at the cage. Well, Aaron just happened to be done hitting at Fresno State, in the cages, and I just happened to walk by. I was like, "How you doing?" Kept it cordial. And then all of a sudden, I'm off the tee because I would hit every day in that cage. And then all of a sudden, he just walked in the cage with me, and we started hitting for almost an hour and a half of him taking his time out of his day to flip me balls, kind of help me out with stuff. I was like, holy shit. Obviously inside I was geeking out, but deep down I was like, bro, this is where this is the coolest thing ever. Like this guy who's 20. So this is 2019. So the greatest hitter in the MLB right now took time out of his day to flip me balls, send him a DM and thanked him. It's like, hey, if you never need anything, here's my phone number.
Yeah. Holy I have shit. A similar story in spring training. I go to spring training every year to tune him up. And I let my minor leaguers know that I'm in Tampa. So if anybody from Lakeland or Tampa or, Dunedin or anybody close, they're real close, well, they'll come out and hit with me. So I just get done hitting with Aaron, and 3 Tiger minor leaguers walk in for their time with me. Aaron's, he's done. He's about to leave. Well, he spends another hour with those 3 guys talking, hitting, picking up the balls with them, like it's no big deal. This is
Yeah.
like 23 or 24, 2023 or 4, when he's already a couple-time MVP. He's as big a big dog as you can get, and he's just a regular guy. And they'll ask him questions, and he'll ask them, "What are you doing? Why do you do that?" You know. So he's quite the guy.
I love that. I mean, yeah, he's the best. I mean, role model. If you want to have a role model out there, it's Judge, on and off the field, of like who gets his shit done, works his ass off. Yet he literally is the biggest giant of a teddy bear, of just the nicest human being in the world.
In this day of cancellation, I'm thankful he hasn't canceled me. I mean, we're so different. We're so different personalities, and that's a compliment to him on how much of a superhuman person he is.
Yeah. Speaking of other big wigs, Marsh, I think you want to bring up remember the Caleb thing? You got that?
Yeah. I mean,
Hey, speak up. Speak a little bit. You're like Mike's.
we talked about this on our like a couple weeks ago on our podcast, but we saw some of the drama on social media with Caleb Durbin.
Yeah.
And a different, I don't know their YouTube name, but a different YouTube account was posting him, and then they'd post like his in-game highlights, like, oh, he hit a double after he worked with us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were going back, and we just felt like it seemed like they weren't posting him. They were more posting him to say like, oh, he's working with someone other than Rich. That's what it felt like to us.
Yeah.
So like, we were just wondering if you had any opinions on that, and if you saw that those posts were going up.
Yeah, I've seen it all, and I've fought back. Here's the story with Caleb. I met him in Chicago in 21 and worked with him regularly all the way through, got him to the Brewers, and then he got traded to the Red Sox. From day one at spring training, the Red Sox are heavily driveline influenced, bat speed, and they asked him to start pushing through to hit the ball over the monster. Well, pushing through is not something I would ever have my hitters do. We're going to snap it back, and the leg's going to drive it through. Anyway, through spring training, Caleb got worse and worse and worse and worse, and they started the season 0 for 20. I went to Houston to tune him up, and we had some good sessions, but we didn't get it done. And then shortly thereafter, I see this video of him working with Gradham, and he's gotten a couple hits, maybe a double or something afterwards. And then Caleb sends me a text. He wants to meet me in Tampa. This is June 8th and 9th, I believe. So I meet him in Tampa, and we spend two sessions together. And on June 10th, he hits 2 homers. And the next week, he hits 2 homers. The next week, he hits 2 homers. And right now, he's up to 10 homers. He only had 11 all of last year. So whatever Gradham did, and then I'm showing videos side by side of Caleb as a Brewer and Caleb as a Red Sox, and they look identical. He's still doing my stuff, but Gradham did something that helped him. Okay, I'm not going to deny that. Something helped. I think I know what it is, and if you're interested, I'll show it to you. But he got the drive line out of him, basically is what Gradham did. And then Caleb's fallen right back into where he should be, and he's doing great.
That's what I said. I think I told that to Marshall too. I was like, I think there was probably too much of something going on. And it's like, sometimes you kind of have to revert back a little bit to X, Y, and Z, like the basics of like just like feeling yourself square to the ball, kind of just reverting back to the basics before you go back to, all my weight on that backside. Stuff like that's kind of telling that to Marshall. That's how I felt. Like it was probably too extreme of something, like you literally said, and then he kind of had to dial it back, got it to a somewhat normal place of boom or 50 square, whatever it is, and then went back to where he wants to be in a sense.
I've got a video of Aaron somewhere where he's holding his thumb and forefinger like this, and he says, Rich, the difference between success and failure is this big. Well, Caleb was just off a little bit, okay? And whatever Gradham did got him on, and he's gone strong since then.
Yeah. I think I also love hearing that, because once again, if we obviously, that's going to be a clip for sure. It's like, oh, well, well, Rich is now claiming that Gradham does help people, and it's going to be this whole damn thing.
Yeah.
Like we're hitting coaches. Like, you're supposed to help guys get better. Like, and if they work with someone else, like, cool. Like, you're a good hitter. I'm glad. Do I think I can help you be better? Sure. But crazy polarization of like just this blackout. Oh, there I am. Oh, this hitting coach war of like, instead of just like, you do the one thing, I do one thing, this guy does one thing, right? We're all going to disagree probably, but like if you see like success in your athletes, then who gives a shit in a sense? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Gradam does not teach barrel depth and one-leggedness.
Yeah.
Caleb still getting barrel depth and he's one-legged. Okay. But they did something that got him loose,
Yeah.
turned him loose.
Yeah. Hey, do you have any insight on Judge? Are you going to start swinging with him here soon? Because I know I saw some reports that he was feeling better-ish. Do you guys got anything in the books here to work soon to get him back before the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't know anything that you don't know. I haven't talked to him. What I've heard is that the latest imaging shows healing, but it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
And the latest survey I heard is late August, early September for him.
Yeah. Yeah. That sucks.
Rich, if you were to one guy across the league, you mentioned that kind of athlete and mechanics scale. If there was like one athlete on the scale at the tippity top that you would love to work with, that you think you could get something out of, who would that one guy be?
I'm trying to think. There's right now I'm uncertain, but go back a year or two, I would have said
absolutely.
Jordan, I would have said Byron Buxton. Both of them have improved greatly. At this very moment, I have started working with Giancarlo Stanton, but that's 2 years old now. He's a tremendous athlete with very primitive mechanics, if that's a fine word. I mean, he's just out athlete the game, It's interesting when he got traded to the Yankees, free agent, or did they trade for him?
Trade from Miami.
It was 2018, and I'm in California at Aaron's birthday party in April, and Aaron comes over and I ask him, "Hey, what's it like being with Giancarlo Stanton?" And Aaron said something like, the first time they were in the cage together, Giancarlo said to Aaron, "If you swing down on the ball, you'll get backspin and it'll carry." And Aaron's response was, "I just prefer to hit the middle of the ball." And that kind of shows you what their mechanics were. Giancarlo was a swing down forward, hit the bottom of the ball or below the equator to get it to backspin and go. And Aaron's snapping the bat and his barrel's coming up through the ball.
Mm-hmm. That's so funny.
If I think of something while we continue, I'll mention a name.
No, for sure. I think that those guys you hit on.
And O'Neill Cruz, both of those guys.
Just the talent and the size of those guys on all of them. You got Jordan Walker, Ellie De La Cruz, O'Neill Cruz, like all those guys are just giants. So yeah, if you were to harness some more out of those swings, I'm sure, you could definitely get a lot out of those guys.
But I get my biggest kick out of Caleb and Kerry. Two guys that they ain't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
They weren't projected to be there. That's the way I should say it. And they're there. A good athlete has a hell of a running start on the almost good athlete,
Mm-hmm. Marsh, you got anything?
Yeah, I got one more. Can you just give us one hitter, either that's in the MLB right now that's young, or someone who just got drafted out of college that we should look out for? That maybe they don't do HLP exactly, but just something you like that's similar.
Okay. First of all, I like the Burris kid from Georgia Tech. Never worked with him. Saw his swing. I think he must be a junior, so I saw him as a freshman, I think, and I thought, wow, that's really good. I think his swing was better as a freshman than it is now, but it's still in the ballpark. He's got to be careful who he listens to, okay? But the number 9 pick this year, AJ Gracia, I've been working with him for a year, and he really has a really good swing. There's no guarantee that a good swing will get you to the big leagues, but it's a pretty solid truth that if you don't have a good swing, you won't get there.
Yeah.
So there's other things. You got to be mentally tough. You got to be a good athlete. You got to be, you got to have good vision. There's a lot of things you have to have. The one thing that you have control over is how you swing the bat, and everybody should take control of that and at least get a good swing, so that doesn't limit their success.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. That's a good question, Marsh. Boys, you got anything else for Rich here? We got some last couple minutes. Ben, I want to know, Ben, what'd you learn from the session? Dog water about nothing about
His
I
What do
mean,
you-
I know.
his face says skepticism.
No, not skepticism. I learned a lot, and truth be told, like it makes sense. And generally, like some of the principles that I learned while hitting as like a as a youth player, like yeah, it makes sense, and it makes a lot of sense. And when you are able to put all of it together in one mechanized swing, like yeah, absolutely. And I'm not by any means a skeptic. I just more so have never seen the path to it. So I just never understood it. Right. And so once you start saying these things, they absolutely make sense. And if you have it all in one smooth working, like a wheel, it's just, it works.
Holy shit. It's just like it's just like a 2 gears going together. Holy shit. The kid gets it. Marsh, what do you got? Last comments?
I just appreciate the wisdom. I appreciate the wisdoms, the stories, everything about it. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, same. I appreciate it. I've watched your videos forever. I know Andrew's worked with you, and I've known Andrew forever. So, I've tried to learn it on my own. I've tried to apply it to high school and youth kids. But from just what you're saying, like it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of reps for these youth kids. So, I know the work ethic and the reps need to be there for them to really get it, because high school season's so short. So it's hard if they don't go home and do it and work on it themselves and truly believe it. So
I think one thing that
go ahead. Yeah.
one thing that says a lot. Andrew earlier asked about the players that come to me that don't see it through, and there's a fair amount of those. None of them badmouth what I teach, even though they're not doing it. None of them badmouth what I teach because they felt it in the cage.
Yeah.
They just couldn't do it in the game.
Yeah. I mean, let's get rich. It's not that you made this whole new hitting system. Like the way I kind of summarize it is basically in a nutshell, all you did was have guys put bat speed behind them, and instead of pushing the ball, let that rear leg take it through.
Yeah.
In a nutshell. Like that is the very basic minimum borderline bat speed behind you, let your rear leg take it through.
Yeah.
And that's not reinventing the wheel. That's what Barry did. That's what all the greats did.
I learned it by watching the greats. I didn't reinvent anything.
Exactly. And you just give language.
And I've invented some drills that help you do that, but it's the same swing of Barry and Manny and Albert and Ted and Mickey and Mike.
Mm-hmm. And all you did was give us a language to actually feel what the greats did, not all right, knob down, swing down, foot down. Yeah. Oh shit, it's by me. So
yeah, in my opinion, Albert, A-Rod, they both have videos out there where they're doing this in their practice and they're doing this in their game. My opinion, and I don't mean this to be derogatory by any means, they don't know they were one-legged.
Yeah. Ben, what's that face for, Ben?
And it's the
that makes sense.
It's the one-legged that turned their barrel up instead of kept it going down.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. So good stuff. Well, Rich, I appreciate you taking the time out of your beautiful Sunday. Boys, thanks for hopping on. And that is it. Appreciate you. Later.
I enjoyed it.
Thanks, Rich.
See you again.
Thanks, Rich.
See ya.
Boom.